Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashmi Shai Bashem Warakah Kwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone and the elder bishops on down, and overall to the elect, Yahweh Bashmi Shai Barakatham, and it's your brother, once again, Laban. And what I want to do over here is I want to talk about this, and we're going to get right into it. As this reads, labor prepares emergency plans to keep food on supermarket shelves if farmers strike. Ministers have been forced to start preparing contingency plans to keep supermarket shelves stocked with food in case farmers follow through with their protest threats over the inheritance tax. Tens of thousands of farmers are set to descend on the capital tomorrow, having already gathered at Labour's Welsh Conference on Saturday over Rachel Reeves' inheritance tax raid on family farms. Farming leaders have distanced themselves from strikes, which would lead to food shortage, but have warned that emotions are running high over Labour's betrayal of the countryside. Farming Minister Daniel Zeichner has called for calm, claiming the vast majority of farmers will be fine despite the tax hikes, and has criticized extraordinary claims about the numbers of farms potentially affected, the BBC reports. So what I'm going to say about this is, again, just like I said in my last video, we're coming down to the end of this place, man. Because in this case here, what we have here is we have the farmers, they're about to go on strike because of the inheritance tax. So if they're getting taxed more so than usual, then that can also have an effect on the prices of food. And of course, make people's lives more harder in this case. And it can also have an effect on food getting into the stores too. And this is all done by design. Again, we know the score. Ordo ab Chaos, which stands for order out of chaos, which is one of the most important mottos of the 33rd degree among the Dark Brotherhood. And it's just a way of doing away with the old world order and ending with the new world order. So they have to bring holy chaos, which we want them to do anyway. So now let's read something else. This is from yahoo.com. Right? Welsh Secretary, I understand why UK farmers are concerned. Let's watch a little bit of this video.
Farmers are concerned, and they're worried because we need to move away from a perception of what will happen to the reality and the facts. So, just for example, a farming couple, and these are, there are lots of family farms in Wales. A farming couple can leave their farm to their children, and the estate can be worth up to £3 million before they pay a penny of inheritance tax. If their farm is worth, their estate is worth more than £3 million, they then only start to pay inheritance tax at half the rate, at 20%, not 40%, of the rate that is paid by other estates that attract inheritance tax, which are not farming businesses. And also, when that inheritance tax liability arises, they have 10 years in which to pay the bill. So those are very significant numbers in terms of the value of an estate, and there will be few farms. We think around about 500 farms a year will be affected by the budget changes across the UK.
Wow.
And of that 500, the vast majority will be outside of Wales. They will be in other nations of the United Kingdom.
But that's still a lot of farmers. 500 farmers. That's still quite a bit. So that's still going to have an effect on our food. All right, and just like I mentioned, the prices of goods is going to go up. So she's saying it's a few, but actually no, it's not a few. 500 is a lot of 500 farms is a lot of farms. It's going to be affected by this. So with that being said, let's go all the way down here. And let's read this as well. Warning of collapse of industries due to family farm tax. A business owner has warned of the devastating implications of what has been described as the family farm tax. The government's inheritance tax changes will mean that from 2026 of April, farms worth more than 1 million will face an inheritance tax rate of 20%. It has sparked anger among farmers around the country who previously did not have to pay any inheritance tax. It feared the change will mean higher food prices exactly, lower food production exactly, and farmers having to sell off land to pay. Okay? And yes, it may not seem as though it's a big deal, but eventually it will be a big deal because we know how this devil works. This devil will start low on something and graduate so that eventually they can get to a level of having full control. And if they can get more money off of the farmers due to this tax, they're going to increase it in due time. All right? Let's read this now. Proverbs 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Why? Because the wicked, the spirit that's lifted up in him is not upright in him. He's unjust. He doesn't do things with equity. And it's to do with the fact that, again, he's unjust. He's not balanced. Proverbs 29 and verse 27, an unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way of is an abomination to the wicked. So these devils look at people that are trying to do good as an abomination, especially us. And that's why they want to get rid of us, especially, as I use that word once again. We're a hindrance to them. So the word unjust, from the late 14th century, of persons sinful, perpetrate injustice, not acting or disposed to act according to law and justice, in reference to actions unlawful, sinful, wrongful, contrary to justice and right. We know the word just means. I just want to look into and add a little season into this lesson here. So now let's go down here as well. Morally upright, righteous in the eyes of the Most High, now chiefly as a biblical archaism, also equitable, fair, impartial in one's dealings, also fitting, proper, conforming to standards or rules, also justified, reasonable, righteous, sincere, and directly from the Latin, justice, upright, righteous, equitable. Right, so this devil is contrary against righteousness. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. What is the wine that he's transgressing with? He's transgressing against the law, statutes, and commandments with his wisdom and his understanding, which is no wisdom, because there lies no profit to what this devil is doing. Yeah, he's profiting through cheating and lying and stealing and thieving and doing all kind of manner of evil. But guess what? It's going to end up being all vanity. Because everything that this devil has done, he's going to have to pay it all back. Everything that this devil has stolen and all of the bad shit that this devil did, it's all going to have to be paid back, baby. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied. And we know the ultimate reason why they're doing all of this, man. Because they want power over people's food, which is also a part of the New World Order system, is to garner a little bit more control and more until they fully have control over the food fields. All of these farmers, getting these farmers out of the way and allowing these corporate-owned farmers to run the food. That's the best way I could put it. So what they're doing is they're starting slowly with the 20%, and then the 20% is going to go up to 30%, 30% is going to go up to 50%, and before you know it, they would have had everything. They want to get these farmers out of the way. They want to make farmers go through a difficult time paying this tax, and so that we go through difficult times, because now the price of food goes up, and then we might not even have that much food in the stores like we used to. They want corporate companies to pretty much take charge over these farmers, these lands and stuff. So therefore, they have all of the power over people's food. And if you control the food, you control the people. Okay? That's also a part of the New World Order as well. So speaking of that, so let's play this video. Let's back this up a little bit. And let's play this.
Start to see people like Bill Gates gobble up farmland, and you read what his foundation says about farming when they say that we're going to have a particular type of agriculture. They want large blocks run by the government or by private consortia where they say we're not going to have animal-based proteins, we're not going to have stockyards, we're not going to have turkey farms, we're not going to have chicken. The academic mind always has the answers, but never in the real world. And they do a lot of damage.
Everywhere you look, small and medium-sized farms being gobbled up by these corporate mega farms because they can't keep up anymore. They can't comply with these endless streams of regulations that are coming down. We're seeing that in China now, where these giant mechanized corporate big government-controlled mega farms are displacing all these little small family farms.
And that's what they're going to do down here in the UK. And speaking of Bill Gates was just here unannounced. I think it was earlier of October of this year. So after he came down, now they're giving these farmers a hard time a month later. It's uncoincidental.
Families have been farming for hundreds of years, in some cases longer. They're moving them all off their little plots of land and moving them into these big, horrific mega cities that they have built. And we're going to see that all over the world with the decimation of small farms. So if they're not bankrupted by economic forces, the government itself will shut them down.
And that's where it's all going. So I don't need to play any more than that right here. So let's read this. This is our Proverbs 14 and verse 31. He that oppresseth the poor reproacheth his maker, but he that honoreth him have mercy on the poor. Whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker. Proverbs 17 and verse 5. And he that is glad at calamity shall not be unpunished. Psalm 72 and verse 1 to verse 4. A psalm of Solomon, or a psalm for Solomon, excuse me. Give the king thy judgments, O power, and thy righteousness, which Solomon in this case, as we know, is Yahushai. And unto the king's son, he shall judge thy people with righteousness, and thy poor with judgment, which the poor in this case is the Israelites. And the mountains shall bring peace to the people, and the little hills by righteousness, because we're going to be running the planet Earth. So Israel is going to be the only nation which are going to run the people. We're going to be the governments unto the people, bringing peace, which is mentioned in the book of Isaiah chapter 2, by declaring how to be at peace, keeping those laws and those statutes out of as it is written, out of Mount Zion shall go forth the law. And so we will what? Be the city of peace, the Yerah Shalom. So the landmass and as well as the people are going to live up to that title. Psalm 72 and verse 4, he shall judge the poor of the people, and he shall save the children of the needy, and shall break in pieces the oppressor. That's what's going to happen at the end of the day. So if this devil keeps striving against his maker, then guess what? They're going to meet their maker one of these days. And there's been a conference meeting among these astrologers, those that are watching out for as what they call UFOs, and they're bringing back to mind of many of us that we're not alone here on this earth, and that there's other entities flying around. Something to that equivalent anyway. So I might do a video on that as well in due time. But yeah, man, ultimately, Yahushua coming back to destroy this devil for the shit that he done did on this earth, man. Once again. So yeah, with that, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bahashem Baharakah Kodash. or Waha HaKodash. And with that, I'm out. Shalom.